All right, shalom, shalom, Makiminakwa. This is your brother Azariah. I want to start by giving all the praise, honor, and the glory to Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Yahweh being the true name of the Most High God, and doing so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world knows as Jesus Christ, but we know the true name to be Yahawashi, and He is the Hamashiach. All right, and what we want to do today is we're going to get straight to the point. We want to knock out a lesson that is going to cut this false doctrine that I've come across on Instagram primarily, and I've even heard a couple people have stated this. Basically, that women cannot obtain salvation unless they are married. I'm gonna repeat. This has been stated. There have been people that have stated women cannot obtain salvation unless they are married, unless they're covered by their husband. They cannot obtain salvation. Point blank, period. And I'm gonna go ahead and first put out a disclaimer first off by saying this. First off, it's wrong. Okay, that's why we're doing this video. But I am gonna say this first, so people don't try to take what I'm saying and flip it and misconstrue it and give it a little media soundbite. It's gonna be straight up. Now, do I believe, according to the scriptures, that it is best for a woman to be married? For most women, at least, it's best for most women to be married. Absolutely. Scripture stated, for the most part, for the majority wise, most women should be married to a striving righteous man of the Lord. To be even more specific, not just some Jake in the world, right? Especially if you're a believer, you're not even supposed to be married to a Jake in the world, right? You just came on the scene, unless you got married with them coming onto the scene when you came onto the scene, right? But if you came into this thing by yourself, you're not even really supposed to. You can't even really do that. But anyway, you're supposed to be married to a man of the Lord, striving in Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, right? So what it is that most women are going to be, and I believe most women in the time of trouble, the tribulation period, which we're quickly, rapidly approaching, they will be the righteous, the woman that the Most High deems as righteous, right? Striving for perfection, the ones that are going to make it. More often than not, more of them will be covered by a man of the Lord. See, but what the problem is that the statement is an absolute statement. These statements are absolute statements saying that if a woman is not covered, if she isn't covered by a man of the Lord, then she will not inherit the kingdom. As a matter of fact, hold on real quick. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and read this real quick as an example. All right. We're coming into the darkest days there will ever be in this life before the kingdom of heaven comes. For all the women who don't need a man or who procrastinate with seeking to get covered, you need to reevaluate what you're doing. The tribulation period is right around the corner. And if you as a woman are not covered by a godly head who has been baptized, then you stand zero chance at making it through the evil day. Something to think about. All right, I'm going to stop right there. Now, I do agree with that post in the sense of women that, have a I don't need a man spirit, right? If there's a woman, there's a sister out here that has a I don't need a man spirit, you're in for a world of hurt, okay? You are in for a world of hurt if you continue on in that spirit. And that's just a warning for the sisters who may, have that mentality or mindset, whether you're in the so-called truth or you're outside in the world and the Most High has shown you, led you to this video. Okay, you don't want to have that mindset by any means, because you can have that now if you like, but when the time does come, you will change your mind quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's in the scriptures. So yeah, and I do agree with that. But when it comes to the statement that he made of the post where it said zero chance at salvation is where we have an issue. Zero chance at salvation. That's where the problem lies. Let's get another post real quick. All right. So This is being used for Isaiah 4:1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Sisters, do you understand what that means? No man, no heaven. Now, with so few men of the Father who can seriously teach and take care of more than one woman, with good women being single, ready to be wives and not take part in this world, they need a head husband as the Father requires of them. Polygyny is the only answer. Being single for a woman is unacceptable to the Father unless she is a widow. Do it now before you start begging any man. Find the right situation for you now before it's too late. All right. Now, see, that's the thing. Again, I have no problem. And of course, even with, there was some truth in that post as well, dealing with, the sisters. A lot of sisters have an issue with polygyny and still have an issue with it to this day. And that's going to be a problem because she's right. There's a remnant of men that the Most High has chosen. We don't know who they are. We just pray we are of the elect. And there's a remnant of men that are chosen by the Most High through Yahawashi Mashiach, who was with him creating the worlds, right? And there's not going to be many. And so the only option for a lot of women really is to cling on to one righteous man, and it's going to be more than it's going to happen like that. It's going to be, I'm not saying every single scenario is going to be like that either, though. So that's the thing. We can't also say that it's not every single man is not just going to have, 7 wives or 8 wives, or 20 wives. We don't know, right? We don't know how that's going to play, but we do know it's going to happen because the scriptures do say that. So it will happen. And because the women that understand are not going to let pride and ego, get in the way, because they're going to be too afraid, right? They're going to be too afraid, and they're going to have to understand the Most High is going to put the spirit in them to, like he said in that verse, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to care. Just they take the reproach away from me, right? I'll bring my own food. Just let me be called under thy name, because they need to be called under a man of the Lord. That's going to happen, right? So I do agree with that aspect. But when she said no man, no heaven, outside of Yahawashi Mashiach, of course, everybody needs the covering of Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi, right? But you don't have any scriptures to prove, because what these posts are saying, and again, these aren't personal attacks on the people or again, these aren't personal attacks. I'm not here to do personal attacks on people by any means. You know what I'm saying? Unless the Lord come and make a personal attack on me, right? But I am going to I am going to spiritually attack these doctrines. I am going to spiritually attack these false doctrines, because they can be made as stumbling blocks to brothers and sisters. And that's not what we want, right? We want to get an understanding of what's being brought out here and deal with them accordingly. Okay. So it's just basically the statement, right? That we've heard, the phrase, the saying, business is business. All right. This is the Father's business. That's all this is about. So we're going to clear this up, because no man, no heaven, right? Again, I've said it already. I'll say it again. I believe that most women, just as men, will need those helpmeets, because that's the way the Most High has made he created that particular individual, right? So he can tell, okay, well, this person is going to need a helpmeet. Whether it be a man, this person's going to need a wife. This man's going to need a wife in his walk, and he's going to have one. So I'm going to make it happen. This woman is going to need a husband in her walk, and to help her develop and to be a woman of the Lord, to keep her in line. So guess what? She's going to have a husband. But as far as the overall parameters, marriage is not a commandment. Let's start with that first off, and let's address that. We're here right now at Matthew 19. And let's start off at verse 10. His disciples say unto him, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. Right? And it's probably Peter right here, if I'm not mistaken, but regardless. But he said unto them, all men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is given. All right. So people forget there's going to be single men. There's going to be single men and single women entering in the tribulation period. Right? It's going to happen. And these statements are to force women to go ahead and do it now. I get what they're saying. So you're not sitting in a situation to where but you can't force it. This is the Lord's call. He's going to make it happen. We're the clay and he's the potter. He's going to form it the way he wants to. You can't change the prophecy. People are going to do this. It's going to be like this. The prophecy has to be fulfilled, right? There's going to be some women that are just going to take hold of a man during that time where it is, and they have to fulfill prophecy, right? But let's keep it reading. Let's keep going. Read verse 11 again. But he said unto them, all men cannot receive the saying, save they to whom it is given. Showing you, right, that a man is not obligated to take a wife. He doesn't have to. Even in Isaiah 4:1, he doesn't have to. They're going to be begging. Those women are going to be begging that man. Like as the post as that sister posted, they're going to be begging that man. Right? They're going to be begging. It's going to happen. It's just what it is. That's the way the Most High set up. It's in the scriptures. It's people. We have to play the roles that are going to be played. It is what it is. Right? So we can't change that. Right? We can only pray that the Most High He has us in the right situation. He has mercy on us, and that wherever our lot is, whatever we go through, that we overcome, and the end game is the reward of the kingdom of heaven. And to hear good job, well done, my good and faithful servant. All right, that's the only thing we can pray for, right? But he's saying here, back to 11, he's saying Yahawashi saying, save to whom it is given, meaning this saying isn't for everybody. He just said that, right? All men can't receive this, because the disciple, whoever it was, Peter, whoever it was saying, hey, if this the case, it's not good to marry. Don't get married. So basically, you have an option. But Yahawashi is saying, not every man is going to be able to do this. Not all men are going to be able to receive this saying, right? It's for who it's for. Okay? It's for who it's for. Verse 12, for there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb, and there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men, and there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. Okay. There's some men that just have, been set from the Most High. He has ordained for these men to just say, hey, look, I'm just focused on the kingdom of heaven. I'm not going to take on a wife. I'm not going to have children. I'll receive all of these things when the kingdom comes, and that's just what it's going to be. And the Most High has made them equipped. He has given these particular men that gift so that they don't need a wife. They're just gonna move forward, nor they're gonna take one. Right? Let's get that actually. Let's get that. This is the book of let's go here. I think it's in Jeremiah. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah chapter 16. Alright, it says, the word of Yahweh came also unto me, saying, thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place. Right? So, and of course, we keep reading, we see it, because the time Jeremiah was in, it was going to be really bad for him. Right? And it's going to be worse than a time like never seen before, coming up, but, everyone's dealt with accordingly. It's just what it is. I mean, you had Baruch around the time of Jeremiah. I don't think he's married. I'm not sure whether Baruch was married or not, but you had Baruch, you had other people. So it just depends. Everybody has their own lot, right? At the end of the day, we all seek our own salvation with fear and trembling. At the end of the day, right? So this is what it is. When you deal with this, you see that everyone has their own lot according to the ways of the Most High. Some people are gonna receive, marriage on this side, and some people won't. But if they're of the elect and they do receive it, Yahawashi said they're gonna get 100-fold more. Roughly paraphrasing, it's gonna be increased, right, in the kingdom. So a brother may not have any wives on this side, but then he's one of the elect and he gets into the kingdom, he gets 20 wives over there. We just don't know. We just don't know. Right? But he's gonna get everything of a righteous reward. Okay, so he's gonna be royalty in the kingdom. So we see it here as an option. Some people are just gonna move full speed ahead, like Yahawashi, like Jeremiah, like Paul, like Yahawashi, right? So for one, Yahawashi himself is saying it's not a commandment for men, right? Now it's talking about women too. You apply that same logic in Matthew 19 to women, but just in case someone says, hey, well, he's talking about men have the liberty, and the women don't, they have to get married. Okay, it doesn't say that, but okay, if we want to play that game, we want to entertain that, let's go to 1 Corinthians 7 and 8. We'll start off at 1 actually. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. This is Paul expounding even more on what Yahawashi, his disciple, on the conversation Yahawashi already had with his disciples. Right? Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Right? So you see that? It is good for a man not to touch a woman. It's preferably, right? Paul's writing himself saying it's preferable for a man not to even touch a woman. But to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. So meaning you can't contain yourself, and you're going to be out here sleeping around and, going from, partner to partner, to partner. Nah, just to get off your itch or your urge, you need to get married, lest you become a fornicator and you defile yourself, and you're going to be moving in sin. Right? So let's go into verse 8. Let's go to verse 7. For I would that all men were even as I myself. Okay, this is Paul saying to the men, it'd be better if you were like me, because he has the gift, right? The gift to be able to operate and function, and Paul didn't have a wife on this side, right? So boom, he said, I would, for if it was up to me, y'all would be just like me, y'all wouldn't be married. But every man have his proper gift of Yahweh. So Paul understands it's not what's for him is not for everybody. That's another thing that's in Israel, just in general. A lot of times people like to put certain things that maybe they have a situation, and they like to put that on they intend to put that on everybody. And now you can't do that, because the Most High has something chosen. Like we see for what he did for Jeremiah, he didn't do that for Isaiah. Ezekiel, things are different. There's similar things. They have to go prophesy against Israel, but not everything's the same. David, not everything's the same. Everyone's got, the Most High has different within the aspect. They have a common goal, is to prophesy the word of truth, preach the gospel. Right? Preach the gospel. But anything, things and nuances, and whether they're married or not, that's different. That it could be different. One brother could be, another brother may not be. Right? So, but Paul is writing to you within these aspects of how to deal with it. And he's saying, if it was up to me, hey, y'all men, y'all wouldn't even be married. Right? But he understands every man has his proper gift of Yahweh, one after this manner and another after that. It's a liberty. Okay? Marriage is not a commandment. It's a liberty. No different than if, again, dealing with herbs in Romans 14. Some want to eat. Some believe they can eat all things. Others believe they only eat herbs, right? Roughly paraphrased. Yeah, and of course we mean clean foods, right? Not like the guy turning around and saying, I'm going to eat a coked up ham sandwich. Okay? We're talking about, of course, clean foods, right? That are within the guidelines of the law of what we can eat. So some people can eat meat. Some people believe they can eat the meat. They can eat herbs. And some people only want to eat herbs. Of course, now when Passover comes, they have to partake in, the lamb. That's the only exception. Other than that, they're free to avoid meat. That's just what it is. That's a liberty. Marriage is a liberty just like that. Right? The only marriage that you have to be in is the marriage of Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahawashi. Okay? Now again, I'm not advising for women to have, I can deal without a man. No, you can't do, because even with women not being married to a husband, they need to have some sort of, I will tell you this, they need to have some sort of male, what's the word? Male, you could say energy, but really guidance. That's the word we used earlier. Just they need to have some sort of male guidance, because the tabernacle of the word has been given to men. So they need to have the proper guidance, whether it be, you got elders, you got brothers that are, which is an elder just there, brothers that are just, you're getting advice from on the scriptures, how to do such and such, keep you in line, making sure that you're good, holding you accountable. And that's a sense, your congregation is your head right there in the sense, because Yahawashi is the head at the end of the day anyway. But you have your congregation there to help keep you on point, right? To exhort one another in these last days. So it's some format, just like you had Esther had Mordecai, right? And various examples. So they there's still a thing that's done decently and in order. But we're talking about since the point was made that they have to be married, have to have a husband in order to obtain salvation. It's a false doctrine. So, we got to cut that up. And really, this scripture alone already does that. So let's read verse 8. We dealt with Paul writing to the men. Let's see what he has to say about the women. 1 Corinthians 7 and 8. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows. It is good for them if they abide even as I. Hey, is Paul married? No. So when he's saying to the unmarried, he's talking about what? He's talking about women that are not married, single women, so to speak. The quote unquote single women, widows. Because part of the other doctrine was if you're a widow too, if you're a widow, right? If you're a widow, you get a pass. It doesn't make any sense. That's a silly doctrine. Because if you're a widow, you're still what? A single woman. You had a husband at one point, your husband passed away, and guess what? Now you're a single woman because your man is no longer alive. So how do widows just get a pass? There's nothing in there that states this. This is not in the Bible. This is just straight. This is not in the Bible. You cannot find this. These are doctrines that are just pulled up from out of nowhere, or sometimes even there's agendas behind them. You just never know. I'm not pointing the finger at, anybody doing something or doing something behind the scenes. I'm not going to do that. I don't know. But when you look, if someone just sees scriptures like these and you can still go about your way and make this as gospel and say that this is accurate after it's been proven wrong, or when you see scriptures like these, how can you continue to go about that way if there's not something behind it? It's got to be something that's motivating it. But anyway, as we read it again. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. Meaning what? These women, it's good for them if they abide and be unmarried. Verse 9. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. Right? Be caught up in their lust and get into a situation, to where you can't hold yourself and you're burning in your lust, and that could eventually lead to, the end game not being well, end game being burning, right? So same thing with the men. Get married. This is your way to, if you can't contain yourself, get married. That's one reason why you should do it. That's what Paul's writing for men and for women. So we see right here again. Now, just key in on this. If women getting married, having a husband, is salvational for them. If women getting married to a husband is salvational for a woman, it's unacceptable. They have zero chance at making it. Then why is Paul writing this? Are we saying that Paul is advising women to be destroyed? Because that's what you would have. That's the side of the road that you would have to be driving on to say that if women, it's unacceptable for a woman to be single and they have zero chance of salvation if they're not married by the time of Jacob's trouble popping off, or by the time of Yahawashi returning. Paul is essentially, if that's the case, then Paul is essentially writing and telling these women he's giving them bad gospel. If that's the case, you're saying Paul is giving them bad advice, and Paul is actually telling them, he's trying to set them up, he's putting a stumbling block before them for them to actually be destroyed. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. So I hope that, for individuals, not just the people that made their posts or have stated, anybody, right? If you had any questions and concerns, you really take this into account. Repent for them statements. Take your post down. If you're being sincere, take them down. Edit your sheets, edit your comments, whatever you got to do, because that's false doctrine. Right? We see it. This alone shows that this is false doctrine. Because otherwise you're saying that Paul is advising women to be destroyed, basically. Because if no man means that if they don't have a man by the time everything hits the fan, no salvation. Well, then Paul's telling them to be destroyed right now, because he's saying, if therefore, hey, for y'all unmarried that are unmarried widows, both single women, it's good for y'all to be like me, an unmarried man. He's giving them pretty bad advice if that's the position that we're taking. So we got to rethink that. Okay. This is the book of 2 John chapter 2 and verse 1. The elder unto the elect lady and her children, whom I love in the truth, and not I only, but also all they that have known the truth, for the truth's sake, which dwelleth in us and shall be with us forever. So the elder unto the elect lady and her children. You see, this is what is stated as an elect lady, and yet, right, and chosen, an elect. Let's get into that real quick. Onto the elect.
Strong's G 1588. Eklektos.
And we see the word elect, picked out. Ekletos is the Greek, by the way. Right? It says picked out, chosen by Yahweh to obtain salvation through Hamashiach. Christians are called chosen or elect of Yahweh. The Messiah is called elect as appointed by Yahweh to the most exalted office conceivable. Choice, select, the best of its kind or class. Excellence, preeminent, applied to certain individual Christians. Oh, to pick out. If we go into the etymology,
Strong's G 1586. Eklegomai. Thayer's lexicon. Eklego.
All right. To pick out, to choose, to pick or choose out for oneself. Choosing out of many, Yahawashi choosing his disciples. choosing whom he judged fit to receive his favors and separated from the rest of mankind to be particularly his own and to be attended continually by his gracious oversight. The Israelites. so many cuts in this, right? And it's not about cutting anybody. It is about destroying false doctrine, though. So it's not going to be a problem for our brothers and sisters here. So we do see, an example of an elect lady. And guess what? We don't even see where she has a husband. Because if it was here, it should be there. The elect lady and her children. It's listing her children, but it's not even saying her husband. She could be a widow. We don't know. Maybe she had a husband and he passed. But then again, even if that's the case, she's still considered a single woman. So I don't see where the widow piece makes it. It's just trying to justify it because that's what happens is you're trying to justify it because that puts a dead end to your belief, because there's Judith. You got Judith in the scriptures, and she ain't been with no man after her husband passed. So you have to say that because that's an easy cut. It's an easy destruction to your doctrine, to that belief system. But even what we just read here in 1 Corinthians 7:8-9, that's an easy cut. So we got to rethink these doctrines, and before we got to rethink what we're bringing out there's so many examples, man. Let's get one more. Let's get the book of Mark chapter 16 and verse 9. And when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome had brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him. Right? Look at this. You had Mary Magdalene. Where was her husband at after she was converted into Yahawashi? Where was her husband? We don't see that. Hey, shoot, we got Martha. Look, Luke 10:38. Now it came to pass as they went that he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Yahawashi's feet and heard the word. Where's Martha's husband at? Where is this Mary's husband at? Can't find it. Right? We don't see it. We don't see them. Scriptures have no account. Maybe they ended up getting married later. We don't know. But they're in their whole walk with Yahawashi. Yahawashi went on the cross, died. We don't see it. There's no husband. All right. So we have to be very particular. We have to really sit back and understand in what we're saying, brothers and sisters, especially for sisters. If the Most High has not led you, because you got to be moved in the spirit to do this, right? If you're going to receive, you're going to have a husband, you got to be led by the spirit, right? You don't want to move by the flesh. I'm just going to pick any one of them, right? Romans 8:14. That's a good one. Let's start off at Let's start off at 12. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors not to the flesh to live after the flesh. For if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. For as many as are led by the Spirit of Yahweh, they are the sons of Yahweh. For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye received the spirit of adoption. Right? So we're to move in the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and let the Most High ordain. Because what Yahweh Shai said too, what the Most High have put together, no man can put asunder. Right? Roughly paraphrasing, no man can put that aside. So you let the Most High set that marriage up for you. Right? And Most High may put the spirit on the man to talk to you, Spirit of the Lord talk to you, and then you go through the proper phase accordingly. Figuring them out, courting, you the term, so to speak. You deal with that. You handle everything decently in order. But things people are saying is, well, oh, you need to hurry up and find a man of the Lord before you don't receive salvation. But hey, make sure you pick wisely. You know what I'm saying? Use discernment while you're doing. But how you using discernment if you rushing? You got to make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So then, because sisters shouldn't even be trying to be honest, to be perfectly honest, sisters have a hard time picking a man when it comes to this anyway. It's not, that's why it's really not supposed to go like that. And Babylon has it to where women pick the man of their choice. And more often than not, it's usually not the right man. They usually don't end up picking the right guy for themselves. Right? That's just how it goes. That's usually how it is. Most women usually don't end up making the right choice when they have to pick the right guy for themselves. Of course, you got examples where it does work, and all praises to Yahawashi for those working. But more often than not, and just in general, talking about in general dealing with the world, that's how it usually doesn't end up the right way. Right? It's really supposed to be up to the father to kind of set that up, and him to be the say so. But of course, most women, just like most men, all of us in general, most of our parents are not in this thing, right? And just even in the keeping of the commandments, not even just the full actual truth, or really the full truth of Yahawashi. I'm just talking about keeping the commandments. But if you make the circle smaller to just those in Yahawashi, then the circle's even smaller then. So most of us our parents are not in this thing. So they're not gonna operate like that, So you're asking for women to actually go off and make the wrong choice by telling them to hurry up and do it, but do it right. It's like you're putting them in a situation. It's almost a situation to set up and fail. I mean, even in Isaiah 4:1, even if they got to be one of those women that gotta get humbled, hey, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? And then the Most High have them right, and then they'll be protected, right? That's just the way the Most High is gonna have it set up. If that's gonna be their lot, that's gonna be their lot, right? And it's gonna be at the right timing. Again, somebody's got it. There's got to be women to fulfill that prophecy, right? Maybe that's the humility. Again, Jacob's trouble is going to be humility for those that the Most High keeps. If he don't, for those of us that he doesn't keep, he's going to sift us out, and it's going to be mass hell. It's going to be hell for those that believe, but for those who believe, it's going to be a humbling process. It's going to be a humbling process, right? We're going to be tried. We're going to be tried in that time. We just got to pray that the Most High have mercy on us, because that's how we're going to make it through. If we do, he's going to have mercy on his chosen, right? And they're going to get through and overcome the times. Even in death, they're going to remain and end in the faith. Even if they die, they're going to die for it. In the name of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi. So, I hope that this was edifying for brothers and sisters. I hope this is enough for sisters to understand primarily, hey, look, this ain't the case, right? Make sure you just, the Most High will deal with it. He'll handle you. If you need a husband, he gonna see to it that you get one. Be in prayer. You can pray for one, for a righteous husband. But make sure that you just do so and operate according to the Spirit. Don't do so because you feel like if you don't do so, you're not going to have a chance at the kingdom of heaven. There's sisters that are going to be praying, going to be fasting, they're going to get into their word, they're going to be studying, they're going to have the faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi, and he's going to protect them. And don't mean they got to be, I'm not saying they're going to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer fighting people, but what's going to happen is the Most High is going to protect them in these times. You don't know what he could do. He could send angels to come up there and cover them. When somebody tries to come and attack them, and the death angels will come and kill them themselves. You got to believe in this, man. The time that we about to enter, you got to believe in that stuff, man. You have to believe this is the facts. You're not going to be trying to fight your way, just thinking a woman's just going to fight her way through it, or even the men going to be fighting their way through the time. You going some Hunger Games stuff, man. Come on. Now you got to believe. That's why your faith going to be on the level, because we're going to literally see things that we haven't seen with our own eyes before. You're gonna think this is a whole video game, and it is a video game. It's the Most High's video game. Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi's game. It's his movie. So we gotta believe in things that our eyes are not even processing, right? It's moving too fast for us. We seeing it, but it's like, my goodness, you got to believe it though, right? Let's get the book of one more. I know I said that was the last precept, but I'm gonna get this, and this is gonna be the last one right here. The book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse. Let's go to verse 45. Luke 1 and 45. And blessed is she that believed, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told her from the Lord. Right? So, blessed is the woman that, just like a man, if you believe in Yahawashi, obviously your actions are going to reflect that. Your works are going to reflect your faith, right? But you're going to believe. Sister believes in Yahawashi, and her works reflect her faith in Yahawashi. Most High doesn't have her married. Hey, she could be one of them. She could be one of the few that it was chosen to be like that for her, and she had still attained salvation, and she makes it to the kingdom, and then she gets married. It could be like that. Just never underestimate what the Most High knows. We can't front like we know what the Most High going to do with every single thing in his script. We know some of the script. We just don't know all the nuances and all the details. You don't know what's going to happen. We don't know, right? So we just got to have an open mind, and we can't limit Yahawashi by any means. Hope this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Mashiach Yahawashi. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, learning and or teaching this gospel in truth and sincerity. Till next time, Yahweh willing, Shalom.